I'm not going to do it onto the acetate because I want you to see what it looks like with the first pull straight onto the paper. So we can place the paper underneath, line up where you want it. Because at this point, before you put any ink on the screen, you can see through the screen where the paper is. And you can move the paper around. So I'm not going to try too hard to get it into the middle just because this is a demonstration print. Thank you. So I've got these pots here called meta pots. So when people have been creating gradient kind of pulls and mixing the inks, rather than putting these back into the pure colour ink, we've been using mess pots, so that's where they go back into. But I'm going to use some of these to create some more artwork. And there's a really full mess pot here. What that looks like in this cap from when you did it. And deep down in there'll be plenty of other colours rather than just the pinks and purples on top. So I'm going to do something kind of quick and abstract, but you can use the colours to actually paint onto the screen, as long as you don't wait too long, because if you wait too long then the ink dries in the screen and it's not going to print. I'll do something much more abstract and quick so we can see how it works.
If you're going to paint it straight on there, why don't you just paint it straight on the paper?
Well, you could do that.
Is it not the same effect, but it's different effect?
Yeah, it kind of comes out differently. You can put a kind of gradient through it. You can paint onto it and then have a different colour background coming through. And also it has that kind of smoother screen printed rather than the texture of the ink coming through. But you can get the brush marks coming through. So this ink has all been mixed with screen printing medium already, so we don't have to worry about the drying time too much, although we need to make sure we don't wait too long. I see some nice black and white bits in here, and maybe even silver as well. If I can find it, there's a really nice video of someone who does paint with, I think, about 7 different colours, so I can show you that one, where they paint an image of a cupcake. So when you do the mono screen printing, you need to make sure that there's ink at the top for you to pull down. That helps it move through and also fills in the gaps where at the moment it's yellow. So this is the bit where, if you make sure you can see the screen, and you don't need to put loads and loads of ink on this top bit because we only are going to do one print with it, and at the end we're going to have a mess of mixtures of colours, so that's going to go back into the mess pot at the end. Okay. So I've got my paper down. I'm going to do it straight onto the paper because I can see where the paper is. The same thing, 45-degree angle, lots of pressure down towards me. Trap the excess ink off. And now we have our mono screen print.
I suppose that's smudge
I'll put it on the table maybe. Yeah, you can put it on the table.
Must I?
I did not expect it to come out like that. I thought all the purple was going to smudge all together.
If you do too large enough and smudge, so I'm really aware that I haven't flooded it back, so it's going to be drying in the screen really quickly. So I'm going to flood it back now and just print it so you can kind of see that now the inks have all merged together. I'm just going to keep printing it, see what comes out. So yeah, a kind of smudgy, blurry version of the painting. It's very hard to now, put more colours in and get them coming out. Really, you have to kind of clean it. I'm going to try and clean it out just by doing a print without flooding it back. So that's come through very faint, apart from the bit of ink that I dragged through. So now I might be able to try with other colours. Thank you. So you don't have to use the mess pot inks, you can use just pure colours that are already mixed up. This one I think is going to be a little bit more disco than the last one. You can also use these inking techniques on an image that you have exposed onto a screen, and then it would only come out where you can get through where the exposure is. So you can see this one is actually quite a nice texture, but that texture with the blue, that's where it's drying out, so I was taking too long. Is that kind of sounds like a zoo or something? So I was taking, we'll put them all out on the table so you can have a closer look, but I was taking too long probably because I'm demonstrating. I think the texture looks really nice, but it means that it might be a real pain to clean. So I'll probably do one more.
Is that still wet?
Yeah.
Oh, that's it.
I mean, it's a very thin layer of ink that goes through, really.
So then you have to pull it through once. That's done
Yeah.
back over.
No, you pull it through once. I'm going to go back over and just see what techniques, what comes out of it. Yeah, so that's really drying up, especially at the edges. It's really fun, and it kind of, you can just, yeah, do you put that somewhere? Thank you. It's just, you can be much more experimental and kind of just play with it.
So can you paint a picture like with detail when it come out?
Yeah,
Is that quite
yeah, I'll show you the video of that. But I think the only thing is it's about how much time you take, so if it dries up. You can also use the squeegee to kind of add in shapes and colours. So that one I've done a kind of crossover. Print it from this end. Kind of a cross pattern, see how that comes out. Yeah, it kind of came out, you can kind of see it, but if I'd done that with a different colour, then that would be much stronger. So I'll leave it there now, that's up to you. And then I'll try and find that video with the actual more detailed painting. Obviously there's quite a lot of clearing up to do, so this squeegee, which has got lots of different colours on, I'm going to scrape that ink into this mess pot so it can be reused in this process and not wasted. And who remembers how to clean up the actual screen? So not a sponge, you use the cloth, yep. And what water do you use? What was that? Where'd you get the water from?
From the sink.
Or from one of these spray bottles? Yep, so you spray it on.
I use kitchen towels, is that right? I use kitchen towels.
What with the water? They're more likely to kind of fall apart.
That's what I was using last time. It's really why I was making such a mess.
Yeah, probably. So we've got cloths in the sink, and that's what we generally use.
Does anyone want to volunteer to do the washing of the screen?
No one's going to say yes to it.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, they are, yeah.
Please.
Could I pass these through to Joe? And then could you get a couple of cloths, please?
Yeah.
Yeah.